Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about why learning a second language can help you professionally and personally. Okay, 3 years ago, a young man who had the dream to become a successful animator and succeed in the animation industry was wondering what could he do to achieve his goals. Um, That young man was me 3 years ago. Um, I decided that the only way I could do that was by going to a place where there was an animation industry and there was programs, uh, programs and universities that offered um, animation, like the education to become an animator and the the training necessary to acquire the skills to become a professional and get in the industry and be successful at what he does. I took this difficult decision 3 years ago because uh, I couldn't find myself doing anything else besides animation because I like drawing and animation a lot. So that was the motivation, the thing that motivated me to come to the US and start my journey in the process to become the person I wanted to be, to feel proud of my job and to love my job. I haven't yet achieved that goal, but I am in the process of studying to be to someday get to that point, to get to achieve my goals in the future. Okay, according to the journal Research Center Essential on Education Data and Research Analysis, in the article titled Second Language Learning, written by Clara Thomas McClure, 1 in 4 institutions of higher education in America requires applicants to study a foreign language to gain admission, and 1 in 2 requires students to fulfill a language requirement during college to receive an undergraduate degree. So, as you can see, learning a second language have become has become really important, and it's become a requirement for you uh, to pass at least 2 courses of a foreign language. So if the higher education institutions requires you uh, to go through that process, is because that's something that's gonna help you out in the future, and that it's projected that is gonna give you advantage over um, over other professionals to get a job or to be promoted. Uh, I know firsthand how learning a second language can be challenging and frustrating sometimes, but uh, but I feel like everybody should embrace it and feel like by doing so they can get to the level uh, to like it. Okay, second language fast facts. Okay, I'm just gonna show you some fast facts that I found that are quite interesting to me. Okay, according to American Council of the Teaching of Foreign Language survey uh, in 2007 through 2008, 18% of US public schools students were enrolled in foreign language courses. 40% of the enrolled in a foreign language were in California, Texas, New York, Florida, or Pennsylvania. 17%, half of them in the Northeast, reported a decrease in the number of students enrolled in a foreign language. 78% of enrollments were in Spanish, 14% in French, 4% in German, 2% in Latin, 82% in Japanese, 67% in Chinese, and 14% in Russian. Enrollments in Chinese had increased 195% since 2004, while enrollments in French and Latin had declined. Interesting, right? As you can get from these facts, there's certainly people have realized that, for instance, learning Chinese have become more important than learning French. That might be related to the business world because most of the manufacturers for businesses here in America are in China. So obviously people would like to learn Chinese to be able to make businesses in China and make their business better by associating their business with Chinese manufacturers where they can take advantage of the workforce over there. Is cheaper to pay in China for manufacturing something than here in America. So yeah, there's a lot of things that have changed in the percentages of what people want to learn. Or for instance, Japanese. Maybe Japanese is not as appealing to for business, but maybe the influence in like Japanese culture here in America, for example, in the cartoons, people have become more interested in Japanese animation, so they feel more involved with their culture and decided to learn Japanese. Learning a second language can increase your, like, broaden your knowledge about the world, do your worldview, increase your understanding of different cultures, and enrich your professional skills. 3 years ago, when I started learning English, I started in my country. Like, I used different resources to get to the point where I was comfortable applying to jobs, talking to people, but the first thing I did before coming to America was going to a website, and there's a lot of websites similar to this, but this particular website, which was called English Town, helped me a lot to begin with. I began with this website. Well, earlier I had like a couple of English courses I took in high school, but I really um, didn't pay attention to it. Like when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to have teachers who would help me improve my knowledge, and you know, I could have started earlier in my life to learn English, but I wasn't really interested in it because I didn't think it would be important for me in the future, and yeah, I didn't think so. So that's why I started later. Uh, when I realized that the only move I could do to become my dreams to make my dreams come true would be to learn uh, would be by learning English. I started going to this website. Uh, okay, there's a lot of resources where you can learn English. English. Okay, in this website, I really liked it because there were chapters where you will learn things about uh, like everyday life things. So they were really important to learn, and in the end, you could speak to a teacher, ask them for advice, and then take like a little quiz, and they move forward. Another feature I really liked from the website was that there was a community, like all the students could talk to each other and give advice to each other and communicate. I made a couple of friends in this website, so you also could speak to native English speakers that will give you advice on how to pronunciate a word, or how the grammar was wrong when you were talking, like messaging each other. Um, they were they would correct your if you misspell the word, or if the grammar was wrong, or the word order in your was grammatically wrong. They will correct that. So that was really helpful. And then when I moved to the US, I enrolled in a high school where they were offering uh, English classes for adults in at night. So it was like 4 hours every day, like every weekday. Um, that was even better because I had a teacher that I could speak to, and I had a class full of people who were interested in learning a second language. Uh, the difference was that in the class, uh, the teacher will encourage you to talk even more because me being shy, I felt like I wasn't able to, I couldn't talk to people. I most When I was on the website, I mostly talked to people like uh, chatting, like uh, texting. Not texting, through messages, not talking directly. So now I could talk to people face to face, and that way I will gain more confidence talking to people, and the teacher will give us advice on pronunciation and um, the best way to say something. Like, for instance, if you if you're trying to say something with words that you typically use in your language, or with the wrong order, that would make most sense to native speaker English speakers. So that's why I really like this environment. In today's workplace, being proficient in a second language can be very beneficial. Uh, this skill can make you like uh, can help you find jobs and getting a, that could be the difference by between getting a job or not and being promoted. Uh, I know how frustrating can be at the beginning when you just start learning a second language. Um, but once you start understanding phrases and learning new words, you become hungry for uh, you become hungry to learn more words and improve your pronunciation and learn about different things uh, related to the culture and you know in general. Uh, okay, next I'm going to talk about uh, the process of learning a new language. How to get started? Okay, um, most people have the excuse of saying like, I would like to learn a second language, but I don't have money to, spend on a teacher or going into college to uh, to be able to learn a second language. But in reality, there's a lot of resources. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of websites where you can speak to people, get involved with people, get to new friends who are interested in learning the same language, so you can help each other in general. um, and there's various strategies to uh, keep you motivated, like for instance, if you like a song in that language, you can try to learn the lyrics and translate them and make sense of the song, because a lot of times uh, I would hear a song that I liked in English, but I didn't know what it meant. I just liked it. I liked the sound and the voice of the artist, but I didn't even know what the song meant. So once I started translating the lyrics, I became more interested in the artist, and and that's a way of motivation. Like every time you want to learn more, you get to know new words that you didn't know, and a lot of expressions that are used here. You get to learn them through music. Okay. Other strategies to maintain the motivation is to uh, constantly think, why did you decide to learn this language? What are your main goals while you learn this language? If for instance you want someday to visit that country and be able to communicate with people, and you just like the culture and and of that country, uh, you can really make a difference in your life. For instance, when I had the opportunity to go to Italy when I was 14, and I took like a semester of Italian before my trip. So when I got there, I was able to communicate like basic things, and the people there will appreciate your effort, uh, and will acknowledge your effort and will help you out if you have a question, or will try to understand what you're trying to say. Uh, so yeah, that's other way to get motivated. Just if you visit a country and you get um, and you experience the culture, and you see that through your knowledge of their language, you you're able to do different things, and you feel uh, less you you feel like you have the freedom to do different things that other people wouldn't have the freedom if they didn't have a person uh, to translate for them. Or yeah, so it's easier if you go to another country and you know basic words. It's gonna motivate you to keep improving uh, the knowledge for that language. So yeah, that's another uh, really that's really a thing that really motivates people. Other thing will be like watch the news from that country in their language. Watch. I used to watch a lot of reality TV from America, so I would read the subtitles and try to see what they were talking about, and then try to catch the words that I felt like I knew what they meant, and it was entertaining for me because all of these shows are from people that actually how people really talk in America. Because most of the material from the courses I was taking online uh, were for they were like really they used really proper English. So I so when I get here, I wouldn't understand what people would say, because here people talk differently than how I was learning. So yeah, watching reality TV from a different country in the language you want to learn, that helps you a lot, because then you get to learn how people actually talk to each other. Okay. Uh, uh, um. Okay. I'm gonna talk of the benefits of being proficient in another language. Other benefits. Okay. According to the studies across academic disciplines, um, have examined the influence of second language acquisition on individuals cognitive abilities. Collectively, they have demonstrated that bilingualism, or even simply the act of studying a foreign language, affords individuals significant cognitive benefits. The, the preeminent foreign language academic organization in the United States, um, the American Council of the Teaching of Foreign Languages, studies on its website that indicate cognitive gains originating from second language acquisition. The following is a summary of the findings. Okay, bilingual individuals have been shown to exhibit uh, monolinguals individuals in the following areas. First, reading and spelling skills. Second, word recognition and grammatical judgment. Third, connection between print and the spoken word. 4. Concept formation. 5. Attentional control. 6. Problem solving abilities. 7. Self efficiency. So as you can see, these studies have proven other advantages besides learning a language can give you this practice can give you. So you become more efficient, you become better at solving problems, and you become better at grammar. So because you're constantly practicing grammar theory, so you become more familiar with grammar in general. Because I mean, if you were born here and you talk the way you talk, it was because you learned from everybody else how to talk, but you were told like you say it this way because this rule or that rule works this way. Maybe on English classes you learn this, but then you forgot because it doesn't make any sense to know the theory behind the language if you're never questioning why this works this way. But if you're learning a second language, then you have to you start to practice and get to know the grammar behind the way your language is arranged. So for instance, you get familiar with concepts such as verbs and adjectives and stuff like that. So then you really think about your own language, and through practice you spell better the words and get to know new words. Because if in your regular way of talking you never use a word that in another country is used a lot, you you get to include that word in your vocabulary, or you just know what the word means. You use it more constantly. Okay, for foreign language students, those who are not yet bilingual have been shown to exceed students not studying foreign languages in the following cognitive areas: general math ability, problem solving skills, native language grammar, understanding, reading, spelling, and vocabulary. Higher scores in the SAT and ACT, flexibility in thinking, and IQ gains. So yes, learning a second language basically makes you better, makes you more intelligent and prepared, makes you think faster and become better in general areas like math and different things that is not learning a second language. Is more benefits than just learning a second language. Okay, but by learning a second language you get more in touch with different cultures, and you get to experience firsthand how people think in a particular country or culture. You um, develop a better relationship with foreigners. For instance, you feel more identified with them, and you get to know a lot of differences and things that are similar to your culture and yourself. Uh, this empathy make businesses run better. For instance, if you have the skills and you know a different language, and um, you're sent to a different country to work for an American company. Like if you go to another country, you know better uh, how to relate to people and how to make businesses over that country better. Um, Globalization, like global, um, the global economy. Now nowadays, you have through through learning another language, you have the facility to make uh, businesses in different countries and make your company grow or be promoted if you work for somebody else. And it's good in general to be able to communicate and to empathize with somebody else. Okay, to end this speech, I just want to say that going through that process uh, was challenging for me sometimes, but in the end, I knew what I wanted, and I knew the importance of acquiring this skill. And maybe it is not as important for you because you feel like all the world speaks English, and that if you're not gonna move somewhere else, learning another language is not important. But as you can see, it is important right now. Higher uh, education institutions are now requiring people to to learn a second language, and I just want to encourage you um, to open your mind uh, of the possibilities and all the benefits I mentioned earlier, um, and to embrace a new language. It doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun if you find the right ways, or the way you feel motivated and you don't feel like you're doing it just because you wanna be a better professional. No, but it can be because you like different culture and you like a different language, so you feel inspired to become better at it, and and in general to uh, yeah, just find the way you like it, and just find your own pace. Not everybody learns at the same pace as everybody else. Like in a classroom, everybody has to go through the same chapters, but not everybody understand easily one thing, and like not everybody's in the same level. Everybody's different, so that's why I felt comfortable at the beginning taking the online course, because I would feel when the time of at the time of taking the test, I would feel comfortable with the things I've learned, and I will move forward if I feel comfortable enough. So yeah, you can find the right uh, the things that works for you, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be cheap. Is the resources are out there. They're cheap and easy to access. So there's not an excuse to not be able to learn a second language. Yes, I just wanted to finish with that, encouraging you to learn a second language and to embrace a different culture, and you'll see uh, the different experiences you can get from that, and how entertaining it can be. You basically get in a new you get involved in new realities and new ways of thinking and new culture. So that's pretty interesting to me, and I feel like if everybody else does the same, um, you might feel entertained to learn a second language. So I'm just gonna finish with that. Thank you, everyone.